Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Preference. We're glad you made it. We have five, yes, five potentially new benefits to you, or benefits that you might not have known of, hidden benefits, we might say, within the disabled veteran world. Now, these benefits can put money in your pocket, could ease issues for you, could help you get to the next level of whatever you're searching for. And we're going to dive into these. We found an article on it, and we all agreed that this is a great overview of these five specific benefits. So please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all of that good stuff, because it really does help to push this information out to those that need it. Look, the ask is hit the thumbs up and watch the video. Those are the two things that tell YouTube to send this to more veterans or surviving spouses or dependents and so on. So with that being said, guys, I'm just going to jump into this article, and then I'm just going to pass the baton, and we'll get through this and share our thoughts to you guys on the way. So with that, the headline is 5 military benefits that vets might not know they've earned. And to me, look, that's new benefits to you. Could be new benefits that you're now aware of. It could be something that is going to help you in your quality of life. So there's a subheadline: veterans could qualify for military benefits that help with housing, transportation, clothing, education, and employment, and even more. That is outstanding. In the background, you may hear my rooster. His name's Stan, and he likes to chime in. He's somewhat near. I just heard him. All right, moving on. When veterans separate from the armed forces, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs provides numerous benefits to ensure that they have the support they need to succeed in their civilian life. I don't know if you could hear Stan. He's in the back, just crowing. All right. However, for veterans managing the many unknowns of this transition, retaining the full intent of their earned military benefits can be difficult, and many veterans miss out on vital care. I totally agree with that people do miss out because they are unaware of the plethora of benefits that are there. And that's why we're going to go through these top five. I'm almost done with this opening, and we'll jump into them. So hang on with us. It's important to get kind of the backdrop, the setting, so we understand. To receive monthly VA disability benefits, veterans undergo a complex process that sometimes involves appeals and long wait times for help. We all agree with that. Many resources include Veterans Disability Appeal Services are designed to help guide veterans through this process so they don't have to navigate their transition alone. However, outside of the VA and the monthly compensation, which is kind of the tip of the spear for a lot of us, besides that, right, outside of the VA monthly compensation that's determined by the disability rating, right, that sliding scale of 0 to 100%, there are other veteran accommodations that are not as widely known. The VA offers an extensive range of housing, automobile, education, and other benefits for veterans that can be used to address specific issues without drawing from the veterans' monthly compensation. So it's in addition, it's an add-on, which is fantastic. In a 2022 survey, more than 1,000 veterans conducted. So there was a survey with more than 1,000 veterans, and 48% of veterans indicated that they do not currently understand their disability benefit options, and 4 in 10 disagree that they've received adequate benefit guidance when leaving the military. Hence this channel, right? Even as the same number of veterans struggle with service-related disabilities. So that's kind of the opening, and it really just sets the stage, right, of we don't know what we don't know, and we don't even know where to get the damn information. So we are, by default, at a disadvantage when we get out of the military. And that, again, is really one of the core reasons why we formed this channel, is to inform and educate and to help our brothers and sisters. With that, the top 5 new benefits, newly obtained benefits out there. Let's start with you, Randy. You can dive into it for us, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So first, Chris, welcome back. We had, for the regular watchers, we had Chris Starling on last week. He did a wonderful job, but it is good to see you back from gallivanting on vacation and here with us once again. So glad
to be here, and good to have gallivanted.
Yes. I was keeping up with you by text message, and we won't tell our watchers where you were at, but it was somewhere wonderful and sunny and a place that I very much want
I
to
was
be.
filming
So
John Wick 5.
that's
Nice.
right. Okay. Benefit number one, adaptive housing grants and loan assistance. So I'm going to just read a little bit and then we can talk about it here, guys. Depending on the nature and severity of a veteran's service-connected conditions, they could qualify for assistance in purchasing a house that accommodates their disability or for updating their current home to better meet their needs. So we're not talking about the usual VA funding fee waiver that a lot of us can go after. This is something special and different. This is called the Specially Adapted Housing Grant, and it is designed for veterans with certain disabilities to subsidize the cost of buying a house. For fiscal year 2023, so the information is just a little bit old here, veterans can receive up to $109,986 with the SHA grant to put toward a comfortable and functional home. In addition, the special home adaptation, so this is a little bit different, special home adaptation grant, not specially adapted housing grant. So SHA and SAH, two different things, which applies to veterans with a wider range of disabilities, allocates up to $22,036 to adapt their current home to their needs. So what are we talking about here, guys? We're talking about veterans that have certain disabilities and they need modifications to their homes to sort of accommodate their lifestyle and the needs that they have. This is not something that is particularly well known. Let's go back a few minutes in time. Jason said a study recently indicated that 48%, call it 50%, of veterans don't feel good, don't feel comfortable about the amount of information that they have regarding the benefits that they have earned, and they have earned these benefits. So let's not leave them on the table. So I've known a few folks through service that have sustained fairly serious injuries, and they need to have their home modified, or they need to purchase a home that's, a little better suited for what life looks like moving forward. So these are two grants that a lot of us don't know are out there. The first one is very significant, $109,000, almost $110,000 to put toward a comfortable and functional home. So that's a situation where, hey, I'm living in an apartment, or I'm living with friends, or the current house I have doesn't meet my needs, whatever it may be. You go out to the market, you work with the VA, and there is a pot of money that is there to assist you in purchasing or procuring that home that could better suit what you need moving forward. The alternative is the SHA, the special home adaptation grant. That's, hey, the home I have right now is fine, but I need X, Y, and Z. I might need modification to maybe some stairs, maybe a ramp might be more appropriate if I'm having some trouble walking, or I use a wheelchair for mobility purposes. There's a million different reasons why this second grant could make sense. A lot of veterans don't want to move. They're happy in the house they're in. They're happy in the community that they're in. So two options that are out there. I'm going to round robin it. I'll start off with Chris here to give you your thoughts on this. But my final plug is this is a very substantial, at least from a monetary perspective, benefit that has been earned, and a lot of us don't know about it. And for those in need, information is everything. So Chris, over to you.
Yeah, I've, with my father recently, and with other houses that I've actually, rented when I was staying in the military, where we had rented from a veteran who had received some of these benefits. It's really amazing to see how far the dollars will go to retrofit for mobility and use. So there's no sense struggling if you have a need for this type of retrofit to your home. It can go a long way, even in today's dollars. That type of money can go a long way to making sure that you're set up to be comfortable in your own home.
Absolutely, Chris. And for those that don't know, there's also other aspects within the realm of modification. Typically, you're looking at you own the home or a family member owns the home. However, you can also do modifications to a rental property in some cases, depending on what program it's in, if you get authority from the landlord, right? And then also, there's something else that's called, in addition to the SAH and SHA, there is another one that's called temporary residence adaptation. So it says you may also get a temporary residence adaptation grant if you meet both of these requirements. You have to qualify for SAH or SHA, and you're living temporarily in a family member's home that needs changes to meet your needs. It's a smaller amount, but it's another grant option. And remember, these are all grants. You can apply online, or you can contact the VA, ask them, how to do the paper. This isn't a dive deep into how to do it and all the qualifications. It's more of an awareness aspect. But definitely, if you have questions, you can reach out to the VA, reach out to your local accredited representative to help you with this stuff if it gets a little cumbersome. With that, let's kick it over to Chris to go with the number 2 benefit out there that's often missed or new to folks.
Yeah, I think I spilled the beans already, but here we go. Pretend like you didn't hear it. Number 2, automobile and conveyance equipment grant. And this is for former service members who struggle with disabilities that prevents them or impairs them from their ability to drive. And some of the things that will allow you to qualify and be eligible for this benefit, obviously your service-connected disability, but some of the conditions include loss or permanent loss of use of hand or feet, or hands and feet, decreased vision in both eyes, severe burn injuries, or some conditions like ALS or ankylosis, where one or both knees or hips would require you to need assistance. And so these grants function similar to what Randy was talking about a few seconds ago, like an SHA or SAH grant that's for the housing, and can help the veteran purchase specially equipped vehicles or apply this amount towards adapting their existing vehicle or equipment so that it's safe and they have the necessary features for accessibility to be able to operate the vehicle. And so think about things like power steering, brakes, seats, windows, or even lift equipment. And look, these things can go a long way to helping veterans move more independently. So very similar to the housing improvements that we just spoke about. And, as we know, the independence is one of the things that we all strive for, taking care of ourselves. It is something that means a lot to a lot of people. So there you go. Number 2 hidden benefit, automobile and conveyance equipment grants. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Jason real quick, and then we get Randy on this too.
Awesome.
Just thinking about different types of equipment that I think the cars, the automobiles are the things that come first to mind, but what about those little chairs that take you up the stairs and things like that?
Right. Yeah. That would probably fall under the SAH, SHA type of grants for the indoor stuff with your house. For the automobile allowance, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could be a truck, a van, a car. I saw the other day a nice looking truck, and it pulls in, and it had a snug top camper shell on it, and that thing turned sideways, lifted sideways, and out came like a little crane thing and swung out and dropped down the wheelchair, and the dude jumped in it. And I was like, man, that's pretty sweet. Not only is he driving an awesome truck, but to have that equipment to be able to come out and just swing out, and be there for him was just awesome. So the automobile allowance and adaptive equipment grants are great. The current amount is up to, I think it's $25,603, if I remember right. I don't remember the change part off of the top of my head. The big thing here is that there's a couple pieces. Number 1, You have to get approved from the VA to do this. Don't go out and buy a car thinking it's going to get reimbursed. Okay. Call the VA, talk to the VA, apply for this grant. Once you get approved, good. Then the seller also needs to be in the loop because the VA has to pay them directly and they have to follow a couple things and submit some forms and whatever. So you need to make sure that the seller understands and is okay with that process as well. Coordinate it with the VA and you should be good to go. With that, I'll kick it over to Randy and see what your thoughts are.
Well, I don't think this has to be, a hard thing. There's a lot of veterans out there that don't need a customized vehicle, although some are. And I think it's a wonderful benefit that they take advantage of. I love the example that you gave, Jason. But I mean, just think about some of the examples in the article here: power steering, brakes, seats, windows. I personally have issues with my back from years of service, and I'll tell you, some seats that were a little easier on my lumbar would go a long way in relieving some of that strain that I feel, especially on longer drives. So I guess my message to the community is, don't feel like this has to be a big mountain to climb. This can be something as simple as getting more appropriate seating for your vehicle and make you more comfortable. I mean, if your back was screwed up, like it was in my case while you're on active duty, and you have some stiffness, some soreness, some lower lumbar issues while you're driving, don't be afraid to go out and look for this benefit. That's my take. And if you guys are good with it, we can move right on down the list to number 3. You guys ready to move on?
Let's do it. Clothing
right.
allowance. Clothing allowance is number 3. I absolutely love this benefit, and it is often left on the table for whatever reason. And I'm going to preface it with, sometimes people may qualify for it if they were to actually get that condition, which would warrant the clothing allowance, actually put into place and get it service connected, but they don't because it might be a lower rating and they don't want to, quote unquote, poke the bear. I hate that. So if it's something that you can file for and get additional benefits from, probably do that. All right, so let's look at this. Clothing allowance. Some veterans have disabilities that require the use of a prosthetic or orthopedic equipment, such as a wheelchair, or skin condition requiring medicine that damages clothing. Okay, you have some sort of ointment, you have to put it on your arm or whatever, and your shirt gets a stain. Well, guess what? You're going to be in line for that clothing allowance. In these cases, the VA has an annual clothing allowance that gives veterans money each year to buy new clothes to replace their damaged items. Continually replacing clothing damaged by your prosthetic or skin condition can be frustrating and expensive. Applying for the annual clothing allowance gives veterans that added help. And I'll tell you that the clothing allowance is just under $1,000 per year. It's $999.51 per year that you can get. So outstanding benefit that people need to be aware of and look into it. If you're not quite sure if you qualify, reach out to your local accredited representative, contact the VA. But you probably know if you're wearing some sort of a brace, or you're in some sort of a wheelchair or something, that getting in and out is just constantly wearing on the same spot, or you have a knee brace or something like that that's constantly wearing on the same spot. You have a skin condition that the ointments or whatever creams that you're using are causing issues, stains, that type of stuff, you're probably going to qualify. With that, let's hit it over to Randy. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to read straight from the VA's website here so everybody watching can know the criteria here. So, question on the VA website: am I eligible for this benefit? You may be eligible for a clothing allowance if you meet the requirements listed here. One, not all, but one of these must be true. Your prosthetic or orthopedic device damages your clothing, or your skin medicine causes damage to your outer clothing, like your pants or your shirt, that can't be repaired. And this must be true. You need this device or skin medicine because of an injury or illness related to your military service or service-connected condition. So you've either got a device or some sort of a cream, and it's service-connected, and then you can go after this particular benefit. I wonder how many folks out there are, experiencing some form of service-connected eczema or some service-connected skin condition, and they need a cream to kind of help them feel a little bit more comfortable. Well, folks, those medications are messy. They're a nuisance to use sometimes. They don't just stay on your skin. They get everywhere, to include your clothing. And, that sucks. That's something that you have to live with because of a service-connected condition. And you want to look good. You want to have clean, comfortable clothing. There's no reason why you can't at least explore this benefit. So my recommendation is, do a little self-assessment. What do I have going on personally? And then call the VA and start the process. So those are my thoughts, Chris, and we'll round robin it and send it over to you for your thoughts on this.
Yeah, nothing more to add, really. I think this is something that, again, coming back to taking care of a aging parent, you go through clothes pretty damn fast. Especially once they get into the state where they're in wheelchairs or sitting in their chair most of the day, these things happen. So great benefit, easily overlooked. Definitely take a look at taking advantage of this if you meet the conditions.
Yeah, and I want to just put a finer point on that. A lot of our viewers themselves are veterans, but we have other viewers that are children of veterans or, spouses of veterans. And think about what that person is going through. If you have especially an aging veteran in your household or in your family circle, and they're experiencing some of these issues, or they're using an orthopedic device or even a prosthetic device, don't be afraid on behalf of your family member to explore this benefit. It starts with a conversation. Talk to that aging veteran, have the conversation, say, hey, there's some help out there. We can get you some additional funding for the clothing that you may need. And contact the VA. Again, it starts with a conversation, and it starts with a little bit of family self-assessment. What do we have going on in this house, and what help is out there? So that's kind of my final thought on that. Jason, if you had anything else to add, let me know. Otherwise, we can dive right into number 4. Okay, we'll go into VRNE here, folks. So number 4, educational benefits and employment readiness. So I'll just read from the article, and then we'll round robin it here. Many veterans are aware of GI Bill benefits that help cover the cost of higher education and after separating from the military. However, the VA also offers personalized educational and career counseling to help veterans successfully transition out of the service. I'm going to skip ahead a paragraph here. In addition, for veterans who had service-connected disability that limits their ability to work, the Veterans Readiness and Employment Program helps them explore employment options and pursue necessary education and training to attain their desired career. Now, guys, if you are watching this, you may be aware that we've done previous videos on VRNE. So take a minute, scroll through our videos on this channel, because we've done a deeper dive here. But there's 5 tracks to VRNE. They're sort of customized based off of your individual situation. You may want to be an entrepreneur. You may want to totally change career track. So do just a little bit of background work on VRNE. But apart from that, there's this personalized education and career counseling services that are available. So if you're looking for work, it's not just a one-stop shop. It's not, hey, I've got to burn through my GI Bill. I've got to go to 4 years of school. I've got to learn something that maybe I do or don't want to do down the road, do or don't. There are other options. There's other ways to get after this. So that's benefit number 4. I'm going to go over to Jason here and get your thoughts on the educational benefits and the employment readiness benefits that are out there. Over to you,
Absolutely.
Jason.
Yeah, I love VRNE. I think it's a great program, and I want to throw out there that not only will they take care of any sort of educational needs that you need to get you to the job that's going to be sufficient for you, but you'll also get a stipend. That stipend, if you're, just for an example, I'm not going to read them all, but if you were a veteran alone with no dependents, you get an additional $768.42 per month, tax-free money in your pocket. For people that have maybe a spouse and a dependent child, you're looking at $1,123.23 per month. Now, here's the funny thing about this. If you have post 9/11 GI Bill remaining at any level, you could have 1 day left, 1 month left, 3 weeks, whatever, right? If you have anything remaining, you must talk to your counselor at the VRNE program and let them know that you have post 9/11 GI Bill remaining and you would like to utilize that amount. What they'll do is they will mirror the amount and not actually utilize your post 9/11 GI Bill. They just say you have that remaining, we're going to mirror it, and they'll do that. And they'll pay you out up to $3,251.38 per month. That is substantial. Don't miss out on that opportunity. They're not going to retroactive it for you if you're, a year into the program and you go, oh, I forgot to tell you. They'll just say, well, we'll switch it now, and you'll just do that moving forward. So that's an important aspect that you need to remember. The other thing is that a lot of us tend to focus on degrees. We tend to go, okay, well, if I need to get a new job over here, maybe a degree in this will help, or a degree in that, or whether it's a bachelor's or a master's or whatever, and that's what you're trying to do. There's two things that I want to mention here. One, the VA views this as an employment program, not an education program. So don't go into it and have that conversation with your counselor about how you want to go to school. Okay. They're going to say, well, this isn't a school program. This is an employment program. So instead, you need to change your delivery to more of a my service-connected disability or disabilities of X, Y, and Z are really inhibiting my ability to work in the profession that I've held for the last X number of years. And this is why. And I've had 7 jobs in the past three years. And this is why, because I can't keep whatever, right? So it has to come from that kind of world of my service-connected conditions are causing me issues with my current line of work. I need a different line of work so I can survive and thrive in my employment. Then the counselor will work with you with your likes and dislikes and your aptitude and all that stuff and go, here's a handful of great jobs that you'd probably succeed at based on your skill set and your aptitude and your likes and so forth. Then they're going to figure out, well, what's the gap between you and that new job? Well, if it is a degree, then it is a degree, right? Whether it's bachelor's in X or master's in Y. However, the other piece I wanted to mention here is it doesn't need to be a degree. It could be, the example that I've been using a lot is the Automotive Dealership Institute. They are able to accept VRNE and post 9/11. It's a 1-month crash course on finance management for automobile dealerships. It could be an RV place or a motorcycle or off-road or whatever. But anybody, tractors, anybody that does that type of financing, right? So they do this crash course for 30 days. Well, that's not really a degree. It's a crash course on getting the experience that you need, and then they help you go get hired somewhere, anywhere throughout the U.S. The point is that it could be anything in between that, right? And including and that's the primary thing, but including, like Randy said, I mean, it could also be the self-employment track. There's 5 different tracks, and definitely this is a high-level overview with a little taste of some different aspects of it. But this is really a fantastic program that people don't know, and you should be aware of it and utilize it so you can live your best life, right? Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just referring back to the deep dive that we did on this particular topic, I learned so much just hearing you guys talk about it, and we wouldn't just including it in a quick top 5 just doesn't do it justice. I highly recommend going back to that episode and taking a deep dive if this is something of interest to you.
Absolutely. And remember, guys, this is a compounding benefit here. So let's talk about just VRNE for a minute. Jason threw out there that there is a monetary benefit if you go down this path. to help you each month. Well, guess what? That compounds on top of any compensation that you may be receiving for your, 0 through 100, somewhere on there. If you're there, it's going to compound on top of that, so you get both. So encourage you not to leave this on the table. There's plenty of ways that the VA can help you with education and employment readiness. So get after them and let your benefits stack on top of each other. Don't pick and choose like a menu. Use all of it, because guess what? You earned all of it. So that's number 4. Number 5. Who wants to do number 5? I can do it, or I can pass the baton.
Go for it, man.
All right. Temporary disability rating increases. So even for veterans with disabilities who are expected to improve, many are temporarily unable to work as they undergo surgery or hospitalization. So think about a condition that you may have that may get better in time, but for the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it may be, you might be going through some physical therapy, you might need a surgery, whatever the case may be. This is what they're talking about here. So I'll go back to the article. In these cases, even if a veteran won't have a long-term disability rating, they can apply to get a temporary increase in their rating while navigating their situation. If they are hospitalized for at least 21 days or immobilized following a surgery for at least a month, they can apply for a temporary 100% disability rating. This provides additional monthly VA compensation that affords the veteran time to heal. So that's huge. A couple of criteria in there. But, let's say you've got a back surgery going on, and that's going to immobilize you for a month. You're going to be going through, some physical therapy. Maybe you're going to be laid up while you heal. This is going to get you to 100%, which is a substantial monetary benefit each month to help you guys. Odds are, if you're immobilized for, at least a month, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to be able to work. Now, every situation is a little bit different, but if you're laid up for a month, that's going to hit you in the pocketbook somehow, some way, some form, some fashion. And so the intent or purpose behind this program is to give you a little bit of relief while you recover. Now, you may not be 100% or 80% or 70% or whatever it is at the end of this, but for that period of time where there's a big hit to your wallet because you're, laid up and you're recovering for at least a month, the VA can help you out. And that's going to take stress off of you. It's going to take stress off of your family. And frankly, I think it's going to make the recovery process a whole lot smoother. So it's out there, guys. Use this benefit, especially if you've got something coming down the pike that's service connected and is going to take you out of pocket for a while. Jason, throw this over to you on temporary disability increases.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a hidden benefit, and it's probably a new benefit to many who weren't aware of it, right? So when we're thinking about benefits from the VA at compensation levels, if you are in a lower percentile with a lower monetary benefit, right, you're getting a few $100s a month or what have you, the swing can be substantial. Now, remember that the hospitalization or recovery or the condition that is the subject condition here must be a service-connected condition. So real quick, to Randy's example, let's look for ways to figure this out, right? Let's say that it is a back issue that you're going in for. Cool. But let's say that back condition is not currently listed as a service-connected condition. But let's say you have a knee condition, right? If you have a knee condition, usually you're going to have some issues with gait, how you walk. You're going to be kind of supporting yourself differently. And over time, that could create issues within your hips and back. So you'd want to talk with your doctor. At least this would be me. This would be my advice. If I was to talk to anybody who had that situation, talk with your doctor and ask them point blank, do you think that my back condition could be a secondary condition to my knee? Do you think that over time, I've had this knee condition for 15 years, right? And I walk funny because of my knee condition. Do you think that could have caused? Absolutely. The doctor says absolutely. You need to get them to write you a letter explaining that with rationale. Then you need to file a claim with the VA as a secondary condition for your back. And then when you go in for your surgery, now you're going to have a service-connected surgery that's laying you up so you can get this benefit. So you have to think of the VA as this puzzle and ways to kind of make it all work. Not everything's always cut and dry. Sometimes we need to do a little footwork to get there. Now, what's the payout difference, right? If you're getting $500 a month for your whatever, and you move to 100%, let's say you have a wife and or a husband and a child, right? Your payment at 100% would be just shy of $4,100 tax-free per month. That's $4,098.87. And oh, by the way, we're halfway through the year and we're getting ready to start using the numbers from CPI to calculate COLA. And that'll be announced in October and then effective you're in the first paycheck that we get for January, right? So that number is going to go up is the bottom line. Now, with temporary 100%, I'm going to read to you a little snippet here and an example from the VA's website. You may be able to get temporary increase in compensation while you recover from that service-connected condition surgery, right? A temporary 100% rating may continue for 1 to 3 months, depending on your unique case. You may be able to get an extension for up to 3 more months if your case is severe. So potentially, it could be anywhere between 1 to 6 months is what I'm reading in that. That's especially if you're thinking about somebody who may be currently at 30%, bouncing up to 100, that's substantial and could, like Randy was saying, be the difference between paying some of your bills or being kicked down onto the street. So this is a very important benefit. The example here is a veteran had a left knee injury that resulted in a 30% disability rating. As the knee problem got worse, the veteran's VA doctor recommended surgery to stop more damage from happening. Since the doctor wouldn't know if the surgery was successful until 3 months after the veteran's 1 week stay in the hospital, we granted the veteran a temporary 100% disability rating for 3 months. Okay, so you had 1 week in the hospital, but the doctor said, be light on your knee, right, for 3 months. So we can then see if it was successful. So the VA did the 100% disability rating for those 3 months in that temporary fashion, which is outstanding. Chris, what do you think about this specific benefit? And did you know about this before? Have you ever heard about it?
No, look, the big thing, and look, what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this thing is to make sure that the veterans and the transition and military members can focus on their health, right? Especially if they get something diagnosed or hurt just as they're getting off of active duty. There's enough stressors as there are with that transition. The health, and we all know how important health is, and we only realize more and more as we get older on how your health is the foundation of everything. So look, I think that's the key point here. The key point is making sure that the veteran doesn't have other things that they have to worry about as they transition off of military service. So again, these are things that you discover as you start digging into it, because otherwise, if you never needed it, no one ever like gave you coaching on it, you would have never actually known that it existed, right? So, one question that I have is there a difference between what they call a pre-stabilization rating and a temporary disability rating, Jason? And if so, is that just, two ways to search for the same thing, or is there a slight difference between and Randy too? Because I'm seeing both of those come up as you do a little bit of research on this topic.
Right. They may be interchangeable. I mean, it's hard to say. Now, when you're talking about VA ratings in general with regard to service connection, right? So my bad knee, my bad back, whatever it is, my sleep apnea, whatever you're getting service connected for. The two main things that you're looking at when it comes to VA is either static, your condition is not likely to get any better over time. Okay. and then you have everything else, right? So those are the two buckets that the VA really looks at. And so with regard to the temporary, it's definitely the everything else, because they're still trying to figure it out, right? Is this what? And then after the surgery and after all the dust settles, well, maybe things are different, and now you're in a whole different boat, and now you have time to look and go, okay, it's static, it's not. The static aspect is very, very important for veterans, and I'm going to just touch on this for a second. If your condition is deemed static by a multitude of different ways, either because you're old, right, you're over a certain age, the VA may just say, look, it's most likely not going to get any better just because of your age, or because of the condition itself, are usually a couple of the ways that they'll do it. The other way is they'll call it static if you've shown no progression, is in getting better over a 5-year period. Okay, static. Now, static is how you get to a 100% permanent and total. Okay, the permanent aspect is static. So if you have a bunch of conditions that equal 100%, and you're like, these are all horrible conditions, if the VA deems, well, it's not static, it might get better in a couple of years, they're not going to give you permanent and total, which comes with additional bells and whistles, right? More benefits come with the 100% permanent and total. So one of the things that I personally advise people to do when they're filing their claims and working on it, most veterans deal with conditions for years before they ever even file a claim with the VA. Well, if you've been dealing with a condition for 5 years before you even filed your VA claim and it hasn't gotten any better, you need to make sure that when you're working with your doctor and you're gathering your evidence, get your doctor to write you a little letter that say that, you've experienced this condition for X number of years. It has not gotten any better. In fact, it's actually gotten worse. They deem it to be static. That type of language in this little letter that you could submit with your claim. So the VA goes, okay, the doctor's saying it's static. We don't have to guess. So we're just going to say static. Give them the tools they need to make the decisions that actually benefit you, would be my take. Randy, your thoughts?
Incredible advice. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Jason said. There is a whole nother, sort of arena to this under special claims that's called temporary disability or pre-stabilization rating. So we can do that for another video. So you can learn a little bit more about that. But just to do one add-on to what Jason said, and I feel like I do this on just about every video here, but as you're going through the process that Jason just described, you've had this condition for a while, you want to get it evaluated, you're gathering paperwork from the doctor to state, hey, this has been a condition that has been around for a period of time, it's not something that's likely to get better. File your intent to file, folks. Get that done, because what's going to happen is you're going to be backdated with your compensation to the time in which you put in your intent to file. You can do it through an old school form and mail it in. My favorite is just pick up the phone and call the VA. All you have to do is say the magic words, I want to, do an intent to file, and they'll take it from there. Or you can go online, log into va.gov and begin the process there. But if you have lost your login like I have a million times and can't figure out how to reset your password, just call them. And you can see that process through that Jason just described, with the added benefit that you're going to receive compensation back to the time when you picked up the phone. So that's all I got. I'm going to turn it over to Jason to close us out for the day. I think this was a good episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's the thing. The bottom line is that this is a high level overview of 5 potentially new benefits to you as a disabled veteran out there, or maybe a veteran who's looking to become a disabled veteran because now your eyes have been opened a little more. There's plenty of different resources and benefits out there for you, often which we're left with the I wish I would have knowns, right? And that's what we're trying to eliminate. Whether this is for you, a family member, a friend, share this information so that way people are aware, and hopefully it opens up the eyes a little bit more to what's out there. Thanks again for watching. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.